Hello everyone, welcome to another video, and today I'll be talking about something a little bit different. You see, I usually talk about music, if you're familiar with the channel. After all, I have music up here and music over here, and a lot of videos have been about music. But today, I'm going to be talking about movies, because that's one of my other interests, and my channel's not called The Person Who Reviews Music, it's called The Person Who Reviews, so I can review whatever I please. And also, I just generally enjoy movies nearly as much, if not more than, I enjoy music. It's close. Anyway, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So, my number 5 is probably going to be a little bit controversial because a lot of people would actually probably put this higher, but it's Avengers Endgame. So, this movie, all of these movies in the top 5, by the way, I think are great movies. I have great memories with them, and they exist in what I think is the peak era of the MCU, and I just think they're really great movies. So, it's going to be tough for me to find, all the criticisms I have of these movies are just going to be me nitpicking pretty much. But anyway, let's get into it. My one major criticism of this movie, and it's been a criticism since this movie came out in 2019, is that it picks up very awkwardly from the events of Infinity War and the movies that come after Infinity War. We get Infinity War, and then Infinity War ends on the cliffhanger, and then 5-year time jump. And to me, that is then it starts and then they kill Thanos, which is already it's really, the beginning of that movie sets up for a really awkward jumping point for the rest of the movie, and they eventually do stick the landing and end up with one of the best fights in Marvel history. I've already gotten over that that Captain America got Thor's hammer. That pissed me off in the beginning because that's just not his weapon. But yeah, it's just an awkward dismount from the events of the previous movies. But other than that, it's a great film. I do think it's the pinnacle of Marvel. I do think that what it delivers in terms of the narrative, the narrative conclusion that we end up at is a very satisfying conclusion for the 22 movie epic series that was the MCU at that point. And yeah, so that's why that's my number 5. So, my number 4 Marvel movie of all time is probably the original Thor, which is probably a hot take, but it's partially nostalgia, partially but because I just like Thor as a character. You will notice a little bit of a Thor bias going on in this top 5. But yeah, I feel one part of that movie that just gets underrated is just how funny it is. There's so many great one-liners that just get me every time. The part where he throws down the coffee mug and he's like, "Get me another," and that's a great scene. The part where he goes into the pet shop and he's like, "Do you have any horses?" Great scene. So yeah, it's just a funny movie, and I feel the arc that Thor goes through in that movie of going from this arrogant kind of full of himself brat to accepting the duties that come with the hammer is a very interesting arc that you don't see much in modern Marvel. And yeah, you have one of the most iconic Marvel villains of all time introduced in that movie, of Loki, who just can't seem to die. And Loki's kind of making a name for himself now with his show. Yeah, it's just a great movie, and it's probably my favorite of the introductory solo Marvel movies. it truly is like one of the best, and I feel like it set them up kind of to be like more funny and like action comedy-y instead of like serious superhero movie type thing. I don't know. Maybe Iron Man did that. I mean, yeah, but I don't know. That's just my take. I do love Thor as a character, probably my favorite Avenger. And yeah, just a great movie. My third favorite Marvel movie of all time is the original Avengers, and I feel like how iconic this movie is just cannot be denied. And I feel like that's shown by like how well known like that like shot like going around them all in the circle is. That's probably one of the most iconic shots from like modern movies or like modern cinema in general. And yeah, I feel like this movie was just like when I feel like me and most people, I didn't see this movie in theaters, but I feel like when most people and me realized that, oh, this is like something. Because in terms of scale, it's a lot bigger than the previous movies. Like, it's bigger than Iron Man. It's bigger than Thor. It's bigger than Hulk. It's bigger than Captain America First Avenger. It's just like, it just is. And they've been alluding to this in the post-credit scene for like probably I think 3 years before this movie. So actually seeing it come to fruition, even though I didn't like live it, I mean I was around, but like I didn't like live it, is like huge. And I feel like they do kind of earn that scale. It's not like big for no reason. I feel like it needs that scale. It needs that magnitude, and it's a thoroughly entertaining movie. The final fight's probably one of the best in Marvel. You have like everyone getting their chance to shine. You have the amazingly funny scene where Hulk like bangs Loki around on the floor. You have Tony Stark flying the nuke back into the portal. Great scene. You have Hawkeye doing his thing. Incredibly underrated Avenger. Yeah, you just have like a great final fight. What more can I say about that movie? And I feel like it is a little cliche, but I feel like they do it in their own way enough that it makes it very iconic. My second favorite Marvel movie of all time is Thor Ragnarok. And I feel like the plot of this movie is... I really enjoy the plot of this movie, and making it like a family thing, especially for a character like Thor, who has like very family-centric motives in the movies, where in his like solo movies, like we constantly see family being like a very important thing to Thor. So having this like family kind of infight and like secrets being kept from him by his dad, who's like one of the person he like trusts and cares about the most in like life. Like it creates like a very interesting like emotional arc for Thor in this movie that is very fun to see play out. And also, spoilers, but at the end, him having to like destroy Asgard to like defeat Hela, like bring about Ragnarok, which was seen as the like destruction of Asgard, to save Asgard, kind of, is a very interesting like, not necessarily dichotomy, but like twist that I personally didn't see coming. Yeah, and it's also just like a very funny movie. It's probably one of the funniest Marvel movies ever. Like the "he's a friend from work" scene. That's hilarious. It's been a little bit played to death, but it was hilarious at the time. And there are also a lot of other funny bits, like Korg is probably the funniest character in Marvel. Just his delivery on things, it's so great. And yeah, I mean, we get to see what Thor and Hulk were doing during Civil War, which in my opinion is a significantly worse movie. Yeah, but I absolutely love this movie. It's got a great final fight. You get to see Thor go like full lightning, which is a very cool visual. Yeah, love it. And then my favorite Marvel movie, this goes back and forth between a couple of them, but as of now, it's Infinity War. Infinity War is, I feel like, just the better version almost of Endgame, because it doesn't have that awkward, like, the awkwardness of like the 5-year time jump and killing the main bad guy right at the beginning. And it does have an amazing final fight scene at the end where Thanos wins, which is like a unique thing for a superhero movie, especially one that is as like commercial friendly as the MCU. Not that that's a dig at the MCU. I've loved the MCU. I grew up on the MCU. It's just that the MCU is like commercial friendly. So yeah, this, like, having an ending where the good guys don't win is kind of like new territory for them. Yeah. But I think this movie like just does everything kind of right. Like, you have this scenario where like, oh, I'm trying to think of how, like, the Avengers are like disbanded and they're functioning as like vigilantes and all that, and like they're playing from like the lowest of lows, like a true underdog story, like coming off the events of like Civil War. And then we get to see like this like huge team up of like every character we've come to know and love, like Guardians. We get to see Ant-Man, we get to see Spider-Man, we get to see everyone like come together for this like huge final fight. And it truly is like, and this is the first time that's happened, so it truly is like a great moment in like Marvel history, at least for me. And I love it for that, but it also, like, despite the serious tone, doesn't lose its humor. So, and yeah, I don't think it's as funny as like Thor Ragnarok, but I think the gravity of the movie and like just how well executed it is makes up for it. So that was my top 5 Marvel movies. I will be doing more movie content just because I want to. This doesn't mean that there won't be music content. There's still gonna be music content. Yeah. So yeah, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed that. And yeah, comment what other movie content ideas you have for me. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. It could be about movies. It could be about music. Who knows?